The 76ers are not winning a championship. I know, very bold statement, but is it really as bold of a statement as we think? To a lot of people, I'm sure it is. I mean, the 76ers on paper are an amazing team. Joel Embiid, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris, I guess. Listen, that's a good team on paper, but they have never performed well. Now, for me to be fair, James Harden did get there midway through last season. They couldn't really gel perfectly, but it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, even when Ben Simmons was there, when this whole roster was perfectly fine and put together, they couldn't do anything. I mean, losing to the Hawks the other year, really? With the expectations the 76ers have had for years, how are you going to go out there and lose to the Hawks? How are you going to let the brand new Raptors take you to 6 games, bro? No, I'm sure when the 76ers drafted Joel Embiid 8 years ago, over 8 years ago, they expected way more out of this team. I mean, they picked up the 7-foot center who had great upside, great potential, and then drafted a 6'11" point guard who could pass the ball like LeBron and defend like a 6'11" Gary Payton. I mean, that is ridiculous. And then they proceeded to never even reach the finals. And then to get even more help, they're able to pick up Jimmy Butler. And then they lost him. They lost him after 1 year. Listen, this process Sam Hinkie told us to trust many years ago has not aged well at all. Joel Embiid has, and that's his, nickname. But as for the team and the rebuilding process for the team, it hasn't worked. Let's call it how it is. It hasn't worked. Goal of rebuilding is not to reach the conference finals, and that's it. The goal of rebuilding is to reorganize your team, completely flip it upside down, eventually grow the players and pick up some great pieces in free agency and go to the finals and win a championship. And the 76ers have not done that. 8 years. It has been 8 years since they picked up one of the best centers we've seen in a very long time, and they haven't done anything productive with them. And with a conference as stacked as the East, I don't see how the 76ers are really supposed to get past a lot of teams here. The Cavs just had one of the biggest upgrades, easily the biggest upgrade, the biggest upgrade this offseason. The Bucks are always there with Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. The Heat are always there because they're the Heat. The Celtics were just in the finals. Toronto drew them to game 6 last year. I mean, this is a stacked conference. Even the Hawks upgraded and are coming back for their vengeance after picking up DeJounte Murray. There are teams I have way more faith in than the 76ers. I have no reason to believe the 76ers are ever serious title contenders. Yeah, you get it. You have Embiid and an aging James Harden who is not in his prime anymore. Yeah, man, I'm terrified. Oh, sorry. I also forgot to mention the Nets, who have the second best player in the league. I forgot about them too. How do you expect me to believe that the 76ers are going to win a championship? They would have to make a Jimmy Butler caliber trade again while keeping every single core piece on their roster. They would have to somehow trade for someone who can significantly help them, like a Donovan Mitchell did with the Cavs, while keeping James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris maybe. Like, you have to keep these pieces around to actually be contenders. Yeah, that's just my take. I don't see the 76ers winning a championship. Well, not with this roster. Maybe they can make some changes that can help, but I don't really see it happening, I would be honest. But if you want to hear me talk about how the Hawks upgraded and are probably going to face off against the 76ers in this season's playoffs, then you can watch this video right here, because I truly believe they're going to put up a real fight against any Eastern Conference team this year.